Good evening, race fans, and welcome to Martinsville, Virginia, home of the famed paperclip. We are here with you to bring you tonight's racing action. My name, as always, is Upstate Al here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We thank you for tuning in for tonight's live coverage of the American Sim Racing Club's Super Late Model Invitational presented by Sunoco. And alongside me, well, my trusty sidekick. He didn't sink out at sea. He was not on the Titanic. It is our good friends from Tennessee, Racing Jason. And Jason, glad to have you along back in the booth with us for yet another exciting race, round number 4 for this Super Late Model Series.
Oh, I'm glad to be back, Al. I'm ready for this Martinsville Raceway, you know. The old paperclip, Al. Temper's flaring. I'm excited. I'm ready to be up here in the booth with you again and see what kind of action brings us tonight.
Question that I have for you and the fans out there watching on the YouTube. We'll give them a second to answer this. How many of the famous Martinsville hot dogs make up one lap around this speedway? Do you know, Dobbs?
I saw it earlier on a post, but I can't remember what it said. It was like 5,000 or 6,000 or something. I can't remember. I did see it, though, earlier.
All right. We'll see. You got that. You're going to say between 5 and 6. Now, this is not the Price is Right rules. Now, so you got to pick a number.
Okay, it was like, what was it, 66? I'm going to say 66.79 or something like that.
All right, 66.79. That's what Dobbs is going to go with. We'll see if anybody else chimes in here watching here tonight as we get ready to go. But let's bring up our race information for the American Sim Racing Club's Super Late Model Invitational Series presented by Sunoco. And, well, it's a half-mile racetrack, 83 degrees Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, and we got a 100-lap main coming up at us as the field is set. They ran their qualifying, they did their heat races, and now the field is getting ready to go, and we will take a look at our starting lineup here just momentarily here at the Martinsville Speedway. And Jason, we come to this racetrack. We love the action that we're going to see. Let's take a look at this starting lineup. Starting on the pole, well, he's going to be out of the booth here. Mr. Tanner Tallarico, the man that puts on this series, is going to start on the inside of row number 1, and outside of him, slated to go there. We know he'll go back to the back. This is last week's winner. This is Hayden Swank. Brett Hahn will start third, and outside of him will be car number 7. This is Jackson Lewis, a 2-time winner on the season. Jackson McLaren in the Bubba's Bout Broke podcast entry will start in the number 5 spot, and outside of him will be Chuck Darling in the BNC Racing car number 88. Starting 7th, the driver out of Michigan in the number 51. He'll roll off 7th, and outside of him, the Interstate Ford Mustang. This is Braxton DeWeese. John DeMeester will roll off 9th, and outside of him, the driver from North Carolina. This is Jeff Dillon in the Dillon Motorsports car number 52, his first start of the season. Driver out of Newfoundland will roll off in the 11th spot in the Rowdy Energy Drink car number 18. This is Devin McDonald, and outside of him, the number 16, the LaPlante Racing Products entry. This is Noah Boucher. Boucher will roll off in the 12th spot. Your 13th starting spot will be Matthew Mojeski in car number 53, and outside of him will be David Patton in the Pinkerton Oil car number 38. And shotgun on the field, slated to start 15th in the All-Star Race Integrity Farms car number 13. This is Cold Beer Zach Coyer. That's your 15-car field. We got some people chiming in. We got Bubba's Bout Broke podcast chiming in. Love your podcast. Been listening to it. Catching up on some of those older episodes you got out there. 87 was his guess. So we got Dobbs at, what'd you say, 62?
66.79, Al. 66.79.
66.79. We got Bubba's Bout Broke with 8,700. We got Chris DeWeese out there as well, looking in on here. So it is Tallarico up on the front, and a rare start. The man that puts this series together, starting up on the front row with this one. This is one of his favorite racetracks here on the season. The pace truck down and away will answer the question. How many hot dogs make up one lap around the Martinsville Speedway at lap 25 as the green flag comes out? We are underway with tonight's 100-lap main event.
Boy, listen to those V8 powers out as they dive into turn 1. Tanner says, I'm new and I'm going to take the lead right here.
Yeah, Tanner Tallarico out to the inside, but that outside lane going to hold court just for the time being. The winningest driver on the season, Jackson Lewis, your current high points man, going to lead lap number 1 with an outside move. Very, very impressive there, hanging tight on the outside of Tanner Tallarico.
I'm real impressed with Jackson Lewis. You know, the air pressure hasn't built up yet, and he's really hanging up on the outside. We're here side by side as they come down the front straightaway, Al. What a drag race we got going into turn 1.
Down in the turn number 1, there's still door handle to door handle. Down on that inside curb, the number 1 of Tallarico. Outside of him, the 7 of Lewis. Lewis scraping the outside Arpco just for a moment. Brett Hahn trying to figure out what lane it is. These drivers duking it out side by side just like they were on the pace laps.
Yeah, they're still side by side as they go into 1. Brett Hahn, you know, he's just waiting for one of these guys to make a little mistake and pounce up to that number 2 or number 1 spot. It looks like Tanner now has got the edge and he's going into turn 3 right here. Maybe. No, he's still not going to clear Jackson Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis hanging tight on the right quarter panel. This time off the corner, Tallarico will take the full slide into the number 1 spot, and here comes Brett the Jet down to the inside. He's trying to fill that gap, and there's a little bit of gap back there to McLaren in that Bubba's About Broke podcast, number 7 of McLaren, who's going to try to fill that hole, but I believe Lewis is going to get down this time on the front stretch.
Yeah, they finally single file out. These guys settle down just a little bit. 100 laps, long race. You know, Martinsville, they click off pretty quick, but they just got to single file out and get these tire pressures built up and then go on and maybe chase after them here in a couple more laps.
Yeah, right now, about logging some laps here. This is one of my favorite racetracks, though. I probably would be a lap down by this point at this place. I cannot get around it, but I absolutely love Martinsville. Very excited to get here as we work at lap number 7. If you're just tuning into the broadcast, we've got Bubba's About Broke podcast answering our question of the race is how many hot dogs does it take lined up to get around 1 lap around this speedway? We got Dobbs with 66.79, I think he said, and we got Bubba's About Broke podcast with the 8,700. So if you'd like to chime in, winner just gets bragging rights, I guess. I don't have anything to give out tonight. We'll start working on that. We're going to start working on that. We're going to get some giveaways for some trivia questions here in the coming weeks. How's that sound?
Well, that sounds pretty good, Al. I'll tell you what, I love little giveaways. And what I really like to see is that 71 car on the back bumper of Tanner. You know, Brett the Jet, he's a veteran driver, and Tanner is also. And this is going to be a real interesting race for these race fans, watching these guys duke it out right here at Martinsville.
Yeah, we're on the back side of the Bubba's About Broke podcast on board camera with the driver out of Charlotte, Michigan, Tanner Tallarico, and he's doing a good job here leading this one over the number 71, but Brett Hahn right there knocking on the back door as he works down the backstretch into turn number 3, and a lot of straight line braking, letting these cars roll the center, and you got to really watch that exit because you can really buzz the tires with these 800 horsepower super late models.
Yeah, that's what I do a lot here, Al. You know, you talk about how you like this racetrack, and I don't like this track. I think it sucks, and you can't pass here unless you knock somebody out of the way. And I just, not one of my favorite tracks, Al, but it's great to watch, and I'm glad we're getting to do it together, watching these boys battle it out here.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
Well, I mean, I love giving my opinion, and, you know, I try to keep PG as much as I could, but this whole track's rough on guys like me.
Yeah, this track really a patient track. I think you see a lot of road racing drivers that, you know, have the discipline on the road racing side excel here because a lot of their techniques come into play here as we watch the battle for the race. A little bit deeper in the pack. Last week's winner, the 35 of Hayden Swank, has cracked the top 10. He's got the 13 of Zach Coyer right there in front of him. Behind him, well, that's the Dillon brothers, number 52 of Jeff Dillon. And I've raced with Dillon on the racetrack, a very fierce competitor, and glad to see him make the start here tonight in his Pontiac. Don't see a lot of those out on the racetrack very often.
Yeah, that's a good-looking car, too, Al. I like that a lot. And, you know, Dillon, no ties to Ty and Austin Dillon, you know, I guess, maybe there.
No relation. I did ask down in the garage area tonight. No,
well, he's probably a better driver than Intune, just my honest opinion. But that's just my opinion. You know, I don't want to ruffle no feathers, you know what I mean?
I hear you. We're on board with the Pro Coat powder coating onboard camera with Zach Coyer, who's working up to the back side of the 53 of Mojeski. Mojeski throwing it in there, washing up here. Or that's the 14, yeah, Mojeski. You know that these drivers, they sign up and then the system puts a number with them. And, well, we just sometimes they don't match up here. So we'll keep an eye on that with Mojeski in there. We got David Patton working back here for the 13th spot underneath Noah Boucher. And Boucher with that 16 going to get relegated back to 13th. Not just yet as they drag race down here in the turns 3 and 4. And these are drag strips with really tight corners. And hopefully these brakes will be able to make it 100 laps.
Yeah, I hope so. And you can probably watch. You can already see the cars. The brakes are glowing on Hayden Swink in that 35 car. I watched him come by in turn 1. That thing's already glowing, and it's amazing how much you can tell how hard he is already on the brakes, and we're only 19 laps into this race.
Yeah, and right now the shadows starting to show up onto the racetrack as we work into the later portion of this afternoon. And you're right, Doms. Those the front braking rotors glowing, and that heat does get transferred to those racing tires as we got a yellow flag on the speedway on lap 20. Not sure what happened as Noah Boucher is going down inside the garage area with his LaPlante Racing Products Ford Mustang. Remember Boucher and Patton were running side by side. They have a little bit of contact as Boucher will grab the back of the field. Let's take a look here and see what brought out this yellow flag. At this point, he's already stuck down on the inside there, so not really sure. We can go back here and see if we got a little bit of action up off of turn number 2. See if we can find out what happened here on lap 20 is when the yellow flag was going to fly. Everyone's staying out onto the racetrack. We watched the battle here on the replay of Boucher and David Payton, and not that lap off of turn number 2. I'm going to guess maybe got on that gas pedal a little bit too hot there, and the rear end going to slide her out on that Ford Mustang. What do you think?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. It looks like he just got a little aggressive on the loud pedal there, and it just got away from him.
Yeah, he got up on that curb and upset the car and locked it down. So that's going to bring out our first Tallarico Boardwalk Subs yellow flag of the evening. And well, we got a pause in the cause. We'll take and tell you how many hot dogs it takes to do one lap around the Martinsville Speedway. And I believe that you're close to this number of eating them today, Dobbs. 5,554 and a half hot dogs. I think Joey Chestnut doesn't stand a chance against you.
Probably not. I did see that earlier, though, on social media. I'm not kidding. And I should have screenshotted it, but I didn't. I didn't know you were going to come away with a question like yesterday.
Well, you got to be keeping you on your toes, you know?
Yes, you are. Here, I believe we're going back racing, too. These guys are already on their toes. Flag man's got the green. We're racing now down the front straightaway.
Back into the Sunoco restart zone. We're going to see what kind of charge the 71 can do. We saw that Lewis was able to hold court.
Oh, contact in the back of the 18 car.
Devin McDonald around, bringing out the second Tallarico Boardwalk Subs yellow flag of the evening. And that front of that Camry Rowdy energy drink can a little crinkled there. Don't see any fluid leaking out of it. We'll see what happened to Devin McDonald this time up off of turn number 2 to bring out our second yellow flag here on lap 25. Down in the corner right in front of Jeff Dillon. Oh, a little bit of their stack up in front of him and contact there. And hard into the inside there. Let's watch it one more time. We'll get a different angle of this. Down in the turns 1 and 2, and the contact between the Mojeski and the 8 car, and the hard contact to the inside wall for Devin McDonald, who showed a lot of speed back one season ago, and Lady Luck has not been on the side of that Pro Coat Rowdy Energy Drink number 18.
tough break for McDonald right there, Al. I saw it on the camera, and I was really trying to get it out, but I couldn't get his name out.
Yellow flag coming out. It's a good time for us to take there and welcome you all in, and thank you guys for watching the American Sim Racing Club Super Late Model Invitational presented by Sunoco. Also want to thank Tallarico's Boardwalk Subs, Jersey style soup, subs, and salad serving West Michigan. Pro Coat Powder Coating, the perfect attendance award, going to give any driver that makes all of our races a bonus at the end of the season, along with the Bubba's About Broke podcast. Look it up on where you listen to your favorite podcasts. And LaPlante Racing Products, as we look like we're about ready to go back green flag racing. We're back underway. And the Tallarico's Boardwalk sub yellow flag out, or not out, put back away in Barney's hand. That's our flag man. And Brett Hahn was able to sneak away the race lead when that yellow flag came out. So he controls the race over Tallarico and Lewis. Ron Hart up 3 spots here. Started back in 7th up to the 4th spot. And here comes the self-proclaimed short track specialist of Zach Coyer underneath McLaren.
Well, he's got a good run coming off of turn 2 as he goes down into turn 3. Hayden Swink also looking on the inside, looking to make a position move. Zach Coyer on the move right now is who is that got in the wall? McLaren got in the wall there. Oh, they're bumper tagging everywhere going into turn 1. Here we go.
Everybody up the racetrack. Everybody going to be able to hold it is now last week's winner. Swank will get by the 7 of McLaren. So Swank working his way up towards the front of this one. Some of our drivers having some tough start to this one is the number 2 of John DeMeester. He is back 6 spots since the green flag has dropped. Your hard charger of the race so far is this man, the 13 of Zach Coyer.
He's got a real fast race car too, Al. He's making some good laps. And passing cars on these restarts is where it's key, you know. Martinsville's a rhythm track. You got to be in rhythm, and a lot of times they get spread out and stuff, and you gotta get them when it counts. And a good restart like that, he's really making his way up towards the top 5.
Yeah, he's working up there. As you see the cars flashing by our speed cameras and already closing in on the halfway point. And Brett Hahn opening it up a 7/10 of a second lead over Tallarico. If I know that Tanner Tallarico, and I've raced a few races with him, believe it or not, back in the day, back when they would let me through the gate with the hauler. Tanner probably saving those tires right now, though it does look a little bit tight on exit right there, that last time off turn number 2. And Jackson Lewis right there. And Ron Hart closing in on there as well. So that's what I love about Martinsville. You get really closed right up on each other. And with lap traffic, that lead that you open up, I've seen leads that were 2-3 seconds shrink in a matter of laps, just because when you get there, doesn't mean the lap traffic necessarily has to get out of your way. Right,
and that's where you got to use that front bumper, Al. You know, and that's where your tempers start flaring. And I'm an aggressive guy, and I know some of these guys in here are aggressive also. And when you got a car in your way that's slower, and you're trying to get to the front, you're going to use that front bumper. And I mean, that's just short track racing.
This is where I'm board with the hometown Sunoco onboard camera with Jackson Lewis as he works the backside here. Hayden Swank trying to crack the top 5, and that's an impressive run back up through the field after having to start tail after winning last week's feature. Well, you were away, Dobbs. Missed a good race, by the way.
Well, I went back a little bit there and watched a few laps here and there. I didn't watch all of it, but I did go back and try to catch up and see what happened. That way I'll know, tonight, and have the info and stuff, and go from there. And, I was on vacation now.
I know. Some of us are not lucky enough to be able to go on vacation this time of year, but hey, that's why we bring you the live actions and the live, stuff right here. As Jackson Lewis works to the back side up the racetrack. Ron Hart applying pressure to that number 7 of Jackson Lewis. A little bit deeper in the field, Braxton Deweese running in that 9th spot, the 14 of Mojeski. runs there right behind him, rounding off the top 10. Jeff Dillon is 11th, David Patton 12th, 13th to Devin McDonald, Noah Boucher, and John DeMeester, all 15 cars still on the lead lap.
Yeah, and I tell you, these guys, like you said, Al, you know, the laps wind in and these guys start to bunch back up. And Jackson Lewis is going to dive bomb to the inside of pit road, Al. What's that about?
Yeah, Jackson Lewis coming down the pit road lengths. Gotta wonder if maybe something went awry on the number 7 of Lewis's. He looks like he's taking that car to the garage. So something must have gone wrong on the 7 of Lewis, who came in as your current high points man as Brett Hahn leads it over Tallarico. Hart now up to the 3rd spot. Zach Coyers 4th, Hayden Swank 5th, McLaren 6th. 7th is Darling, Deweese, Mojeski, and Jeff Dillon, your top 10.
Yeah, and I'm watching a good battle between Hayden Swank and Zach Coyer. And Swank is all over the back bumper of that 13 car. He must be listening to me on the broadcast because he's about to use that front bumper, I believe. He's got a fast hot rod, faster than Zach right now, and he's real patient, but patience runs thin here at Martinsville.
Yeah, they start to run very thin. You got to start using that pressure, especially when the guy behind you starts to catch you. You can see Coyer able to run the car a little bit lower off the corner and swank right to the back trunk lid of that number 13. And Coyer looking a little bit tight in the center of the corner to me, Dobbs.
Yeah, me too. I think, he's probably looking in the rear view, not a good idea. I mean, I do it a lot. I'm sure you do it a lot. Wait, you don't do it a lot because you turn yours off and you put everybody in the fence, Al, but we'll not get to that. But I'd say that he's probably just pushing the issue a little bit, and his spotter's telling him, you see a big black and purple car in the rear view, you need to step the game up. And it's probably looks a little pressure on him and everything.
Contact.
Whoa.
We were on board for that as they worked down off the corner, and Swank able to check up. Let the 13 hold on to it, but I would say that was tap 1 and 2.
Yeah, and you don't get option 3 or 4. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Usually I just hit them and go, but yeah, my hat's off to Hayden right now for being really patient and just riding. But time's going to come where he's not going to be so patient in that 13 car. Maybe get slipped up the racetrack just a little bit.
Is that why you always have security around your pit area at the end of the race?
Yes, sir. That's why I always run and hide behind my dad, because I'm a little guy, Al.
You're like Joey Logano.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
I just go wherever my dad goes, and
I hear you.
And just talk on social media. You know how it goes, Al.
Yeah, absolutely. Keyboard warrior.
Keyboard warrior. That's what we've been looking for.
Hey, Tallarico starting to cut back into the race lead as now he has set sights on your race leader of Brett Hahn. Ron Hart runs in spot number 3, and he has closed in. And Hart, one of those drivers, have up 4 spots looking for more. Zach Coyer is 4th. We were watching that battle between him and Swank. That's kind of simmered down for a moment, but they are still hitting each other into the corner, Dobbs. I don't know how much more of that back bumper. I hope Zach reinforced it.
I do too, and I mean, Hayden's all over the back of him, but then you got to look. You got the 7 of McLaren right there also, and the 88 of Charles Darling right there. Hayden takes a peek on the inside, couldn't do it. But, I mean, patience are thin. We're over halfway in this race.
Yeah, already past the halfway point for tonight's feature event. And Hayden Swank trying to do everything. And right now, Hayden's in one of those tough spots. Knows he's a little bit faster than the driver in front of him, right? Just cannot make a move. And if you try to make a move, you got 2 fast guys that have caught up to you. That's going to fill that hole. So that all that ground that you've made up since the start of the race, you can get to that conveyor belt and get shuffled right back a couple spots here.
Yeah, it's kind of like a freight train, Somebody gets on the inside of you, and they're still single file on the inside of them, and you're going to get freight traded back. And while this is all going on, I've got to look here in this 8 car. Braxton DeWeese, I'm going to say this guy's almost a crowd favorite. He always brings a big crowd in to watch him race, and he and Jeff Dillon also has started to reel these guys in. So don't count those 2 out as they get closer in on this. Be a 6-car battle.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese trying to lead the charge over that 52 of Dillon. And right now they're getting clawed up as the 13 of Coyer holds on to that 5th spot. Right now, as lap 56 goes in the books, is the field working lap 57. As we take a look from high above with our LaPlante Racing Products on our blimp cam. And you can see Swank Dobbs trying to go a little bit higher to get that run up off the corner, but the 13 of Coyer doing a good job slowing that momentum in the center of the corner.
He is. He's doing a fine job just holding his line. Swank, he's burning the rear tires off this old hot rod. He's got sideways a couple of times coming off the corners. Watch him, he gets a little closer, comes out of turn 4. And I mean, he's burning the tires off while Zach is just running a good line. I mean, it's like a Ryan Newman, you know what I mean? Remember Ryan Newman? He just run a race.
Yeah, he was harder to pass than a kidney stone.
Yeah, boy, I tell you what, he didn't care if you was beside him or not, if he was in front of him or not. Old Ryan Newman, he just drove his race, and that was just how it was.
Lap 59 into the books, yeah. It still is that way. I watched the modified race from Richmond over the weekend, and same way.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I loved old Rocket Ryan Newman when he first started. That guy set some NASCAR track records, and man, he was a good driver. I liked him a lot.
That battle still raging on, but up front, Brett Hahn now up to a 1.3 second lead. Ron Hart underneath the number 1 of Tallarico. Hart's going to take that second spot over. The number 1 tries to cross him back over. Can't quite do it. Now Ron Hart going to have 1.5 seconds to make up on the race leader of Brett Hahn, who's looking for his first win of the season here in round number 4. As we look out the back side of the 51 of Ron Hart, the Berlin Raceway number 1 of Tanner Tallarico.
Yeah, Ron Hart, he's another one of them drivers. He's real talented, and he leads a lot of laps in this series, and sometimes he gets the bad end of the stick. And right now, up to P2, that's a good run. Let's see what happens here. We got less than 40 laps to go. Maybe he can catch in on the old closer of Brett the Jet and pick up a win.
2 cars down lap, or 1 car down lap. The number 2 of John DeMeester, Jackson Lewis's car, still in the garage area. I believe he'll be a retiree for the evening. So something went awry on that number 7, and it went awry in a hurry as the way he darted down pit road. We'll try to get word to see what exactly went happening with the number 7 here this evening. But Brett Hahn leads it over Hart and Tallarico. A little bit deeper in the field, the 13 of Zach Coyer. He's starting to put some gap back now between himself and the 35 of Hayden Swank.
Yeah, I mean, he's just running his line, you know. And Hayden kind of gave him a couple of bumper tags. I'm going to say about 5 or 6. And I think Hayden may have burned his right rear tire up. You know, he was coming off the corner sideways, and he's still a little bit sideways. I think he burned his stuff up a little bit now, and Zach's just running his own race.
And you got McLaren right there, along with Darling, Dillon, and the number 8 of Braxton DeWeese. And as we say that, the attack goes back on. Hayden Swank trying to find a way around the 13. Maybe just taking a few laps, trying to study to figure out, all right, where am I a little bit better? I know I do that when I get behind the wheel of these race cars, is I catch someone, all right, where am I a little bit better than the driver that is in front of me, right? You got to try to figure that out. Asphalt racing, a little bit about patience, but patience runs thin on these short tracks, especially when you feel like the guy in front of you might be holding you up. Not saying that that's the case, because right now they're about evenly around the race, spaced out. We take a look at the last lap time by, and it was the fastest car on the racetrack was Ron Hart, who still has a little bit of a distance, 1.7 seconds now, with 31 laps to go to catch up to the race leader, Brett Hahn.
Yeah, and while that's going on, you know, Ron Hart, he's got a fast hot rod, but Brett the Jet out there, clean air. And I tell you, Hahn, he's one heck of a wheel man. And man, I'd hate to call him somebody like Kyle Larson, but he's got that attitude of just a good driver, and he's hard to get shook up, and he runs smooth laps. And it's going to be tough on Ron Hart as the laps wind down to catch him, but it's going to be interesting now. He may be able to pull it off.
Yeah, as we still watch this battle, right there behind them is Jackson McLaren in that number 7 car. And McLaren has had some speed this season, and, well, I think his luck would have about broke to match that podcast that's on that race car. And hopefully this will turn it around. We're going to stop talking about before we jinx them. You know, that old broadcaster jinx, that is a real thing, Dobbs.
Oh, I know it is. I've been there before. From our old colleague there, old Roger, he said a lot of things on me, and I always choked. And I don't want to talk about it, but I tell you, Hayden Swank, he may get I hope he don't get the yellow brought out, but he is wearing the back bumper out of that 13 of Zach Boyer. It's getting more and more aggressive, Al. The fans, here he comes on the inside going into turn 1. Nope. I'm getting nervous up here, Al, as the laps are winding down with this battle.
Yeah, right now, Swank trying to make it into the 4th spot. This is 3 seconds back from Tanner. Tallarico runs in that 3rd spot. And look at the old gap there. 1.3 seconds now between 1st and 2nd. So 0.3 of a second already gone here as we're going to cross the stripe this time. But it'll be 25 circuits to go.
I tell you, Ron Howard's got a fast hot rod. And he may run him down. Here comes Hayden Swank out on the inside into turn 1. Zach Boyer finally picking up that 4th position.
And quickly right back to the inside lane. We'll go to 13 to try to avoid any more loss in positions, and he will do so. So a very quick exchange of positions. Now we'll see if Swank has time to make up and run down 3rd place running Tallarico. Ryan Hart still 1.3 seconds back from your race leader is Hart in that 51 car. As they'll work underneath the 16 of Noah Boucher, and lap traffic can definitely play a key in this. You catch it just on the wrong time. Like at corner X is the worst place to try to pass a lap car if you're these leaders working through lap traffic.
Yeah, and the car gets super tight too when you get in a predicament like that, Alan. It's frustrating as a driver, especially you're leading and you're trying to pull away. But I mean, the lap down guys, they got a race too, and it's just one of them things where it's not very good if you're the leader, and it's not very good if you're the lap car. It's just it's just one of them racing deals, and it just happens.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, right? You know, they're not saying that the lap cars are wrong. They have the right to be there. It's just timing, right? You have that untimely, you catch them. As a race leader or a driver, even in the field, you see that lap car rolling, and they're doing a great job staying out of the way and giving room, being respectful. And you don't want to catch them at that wrong time, where you got to check up your corner exit or maybe quarter entry. You caught them a little bit quicker than you thought you were going to, and all that happens here as we watch Brett Hahn lead it. 1.2 seconds over Ron Hart. Ron Hart trying to make something happen here. Let's bring up the battle box and show you the gap between 1st and 2nd. And then it's 1.5 seconds back to Tanner Tallarico. And I tell you right now, Mr. Dobbs, Ron Hart chipping away at that race lead, almost down underneath the 2nd as they come through turns 1 and 2.
He's definitely picked up the pace as the laps are winding down, and it's going to be real interesting if he can reel him down a little bit more. We got a lap traffic up here ahead of us, but I'm sure the 2 car will get out of the way of John the Minister. He's really good at that. He knows that he don't have a fast hot rod tonight. Brought the wrong setup in it. He'll get out of the way of these leaders and let these guys battle it out. But I tell you, Ron is actually, I think he's fastest car on the racetrack out.
Yeah, let's take a look at the last time by. He was about 4 10/100ths of a second faster than the 71 of Brett Hahn, and that gap Ron is really charging that corner entry as it is below 1 second. Now slips back up to a second. Brett Hahn getting up off the corner a little bit better, but the 51 is chipping away with 15 laps to go. Now cloud cover covers the Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, and if you watch Brett Hahn coming off of turn 2, Al, right here as he come off of 4, but if we watch him come off of turn 2, it looks like to me that old car is tight. Looks like he's just got a little bit too tight of an exit, and it's really hurting his exit right here. That's a little better line, but the last couple of laps, that old hot rod looks tight to me. And Ron Hart is just closed. It's an inch away from the lead right here.
Yeah, and it is going to close in there. He caught the outside wall on the backstretch. No harm, no foul. As he closes back in. I think we're going to see maybe a battle here with about 10 laps to go. Is Ron Hart really trying to close in on the 71 of Brett Hahn?
Yeah, he's there. I mean, he's able to get there, but I mean, these top three are some of the best iRacers that I've raced. I mean, so I even watched on iRacing, you know, and Ron Hart a little sideways there. They don't really make mistakes, and it's going to be a wild thing if Ron can get up there and catch Brett. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
11 laps to go. Next time by, our flag man Barney's going to hold up the high fives times 2. Give him a double high five. 10 laps to go this time at the stripe for Brett Hahn. And Hahn up the racetrack. Car looking a little bit loose, but maybe finding something now. 1 second, starting to grow that lead with 10 laps to go.
Yeah, he makes a mistake, and then Hart will capitalize, and then Hart makes a mistake, and then Hahn pulls away. Both these drivers are on some wore-out tires, and they are just driving the wheels off these old things.
A little bit deeper in the pack back here. Chuck Darling runs in that 6th spot. Zach Coyer right in front of him. And Braxton Luis and Jeff Dillon still battling it out back here for that 8th and 9th position. Dillon takes a swing to the outside. Can't make anything happen that time. And this track was one of those tracks where, as a driver, you kind of take it as it is. And, well, it might not be one of your favorite tracks, but you try to capitalize and get the best finish you can.
Yeah, you know, and it's this track here, like I said earlier in this race, it's a rhythm track, and if you're off rhythm, it's going to be a long 100 laps. But if you're a good rhythm driver, you're going to be up front, and I tell you, I think Ron Hart got there, but it's kind of like a bubble. He's like in a bubble right now, and he just can't get no closer to Brett the Jet Hahn there.
Gotta wonder that maybe he used up his stuff to get to that point, and now they've equaled out. Brett Hahn leads it with 1 second to go, with a 1 second lead. Don't count anything out. 1 second is not that big of a lead. You can see the 51 of Hart there right behind them, trying to close in as they get the 5 laps to go sign from Barney the flagman.
Yeah, 5 to go, and just think we just started. It feels like we just started this race out, and we had a couple of early cautions and some good bumper tag racing out there in mid-pack, and now this thing's got less than 5 to go. It's almost over.
It's hard to believe that here as they work through turns 3 and 4. 4 laps to go. The race lead down to 9/10 of a second. One last charge for the 51 of Ron Hart. Can he make something happen? About to go a little bit sideways, but not losing any ground into turn number 3.
Here he comes. He's closed the gap a lot. And just a little bit more, a couple of car lengths, and maybe pressure Brett to making a mistake out.
Yeah, you see Brett Hahn working out that there. Ron Hart still right there as well. Still 9/10 a second. This time by popsicle sticks are up. 2 to go for the 71 of Brett Hahn.
Yeah, 2 laps to go. Brett Hahn's hoping that we don't get a caution, and hoping they stay green, because a green-white checker, whew, we've seen Ron Hart lose a couple of races like that, but here he comes out of turn number 4 to take that white silk out. I think he's going to bring it on home.
White flag is out. Final trip around the Speedway for the Martinsville Speedway. Right here tonight, 100 lap main event, and they work down the backstretch. Brett Hahn on his way to the first victory of the Summer Sizzler Series, presented by Sunoco. Up off of turn number 4, Brett Hahn will go to victory lane here at Martinsville.
Yeah, good run. Ron Hart second, Tanner Tallarico third, Hayden Swink fourth. Zach Coyer brought it home fifth. Al, what a run for him. Good run for Zach.
Yeah, Zach with a nice 5th place run. Chuck Darling 6th, McLaren is 7th. Braxton Luis, Jeff Dillon, and Mojeski rounding out your top 10. But Brett the Jet Hahn he hears that clock ticking. He'll bring home a grandfather clock here tonight as he burns it down here on the front stretch in what is another sellout crowd for the American Sim Racing Club's Super Late Model Invitational presented by Sunoco. And while he burns it down, we're going to take and be right back here with our Sunoco post-race show here on the Turn 3 Racing Network.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Bowling brings people together.
Right down the middle. You got it. Uh-oh. Good job.
Do what you can do, man.
Oh. Wait.
That's a strike right there.
Woo!
Connect with family and friends. Go bowling.
Welcome back here to the Martinsville Speedway, where the Sunoco post-race show kicks off as we are down here in Victory Lane for the first time in the Summer Sizzler season. The 71 Quick Time Motorsports Media, car number 71 of Brett Hahn, is victorious.
Oh man, Al, how are we doing tonight? How about you, Jason? We are pumped up.
Definitely a great show here tonight. There, Brett, talk about the battle that you had. You started back in spot number 4. We saw you fall back on that opening start there with battling with Jackson Lewis and Tallarico, making a rare start here in this season. And that the yellow coming out, and well, you're going to get put into that race lead, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Al. We felt like we had a pretty good car here tonight. Not too much practice time, but man, qualifying super tight times. I knew it was going to be tough to get around people, so just tried to hold this thing at the bottom. And then with Tanner there, got the perfectly timed yellow with our nose just ahead with a great run off the corner. And then we set sail and turned down the afterburners and never looked back.
Going to take and pick up the first win of the season. We know you've been battling inside the top 5 all season long. Your championship point leader, Jackson Lewis, having a little bit of trouble with the car this afternoon and had to get behind the pit wall. So we know a long season to go, but notching a victory this early on in round number 4, it's got to mean something for this race team.
Yeah, definitely. After a big struggle last weekend, involved there in a yellow, then ended up retiring early. It definitely feels good to come back here, put our heads on straight, hit the reset button, and come out here with a win with the right mindset.
We're going to pick up that win, headed into the West Coast swing. We're going to head to Phoenix before a week off. A big mile racetrack out there. The Super Late Models are going to be fast. What can we expect in 1 week's time watching this 71 come from the rear?
Yeah, I always enjoy those big tracks, a lot of momentum. It's really about all about your inputs and rolling as much as you can with the speed in the corner. So that's what we always do pretty good with. So we're super excited for that. It's going to help a lot with starting at the back at a bigger track like Phoenix. But I tell you what, Al, I love the challenge of going through these fields.
It's going to be a fun one for sure, especially when we get out there to Phoenix. We know Dobbs will be looking for rattlesnakes. We know he'll be up in that rattlesnake hill. But who makes it all possible on this 71 to make it here into the Sunoco victory lane?
Yeah, I just hope Dobbs has a rattlesnake for you, Al, in the booth there for the broadcast next week. But of course, you, Al, and Jason doing an awesome job in the booth. Can't wait to rewatch it. You guys do great. And of course, Turn 3 Racing Network, one of the premier networks out there. Of course, we got to thank all the sponsors on the car that makes it possible. That's QuickTime Motorsports Media, RogersCars.com. We got Turn 3 Racing Network on the car. And of course, all the teammates at RHU. Dave, Nick sadly couldn't be here tonight. I think he's down in Florida. So Gotta give them a shout out, and of course all the Brett the Jet fans watching at home. I think my dad's hopefully tuning on in, getting his dirt car ready to rock and roll for the real season. And of course, got the grandma Grammy tuning on in each and every week, diehard fan, and then the girlfriend Jessie. So, and of course, all the other sponsors that make it happen here: Boardwalk Subs, Sunoco, I believe Bubba Books podcast jumped on board. So, always some great stuff here. So, just got to give a shout out. I think it's Bubba Boutbrook, sorry. About Broke podcast. Jeez, if I could talk. We're just too excited out. We're going to go wrap things up, so wanted to give a shout out to all the 71 fans out there, and we're going to party hard down in Victory Lane. Woo!
Have a couple hot dogs as well and bring home that grandfather clock. Congratulations on picking up the win here at Martinsville, Brett. We'll see you next week in Phoenix.
Thank you. Yep, we look forward to hopefully talking to you by the end of that one.
There you go. That's Brett the Jet picking up his first win of the season, and to say he was a little excited would be an understatement. And always great to talk with Brett. And I believe you've caught up with our second place finisher, Ron Hart. Jason?
Yeah, I have. I've got old Ron Hart down here, and man, he's coming close. Ron, man, you're inch and inch, little by little, but just not enough. Brought it home P2 tonight, buddy.
Yeah, Jason needed about 50 more laps, I think. Had good speed, got caught up there in the heat race and that wreck, and really killed our night, and had to start pretty much dead last. And just coming from back there, just needed a few more laps to get up there.
Yeah, I tell you, Ron, you lead a lot of laps and you run up front a lot, and sometimes late race cautions got you. I think one race I watched, and I mean that's got to be heartbreaker. But you always bring a fast hot rod to the track, and I don't know how you do it, but my hats off to you, man. This old car is fast each and every week.
Yeah, been a rough year, really, Jason. I mean, I think we should have won. USA led almost 92 laps or something crazy, and they wrecked their last with 6 to go and lost in the pits. And last week got wrecked before the race even started, knocked the nose off the thing, and didn't even have a chance to do anything. So good to have a good clean night, get a P2. You know, I would like to be able to race with Brett there for the win, but he just got out there too far, couldn't run him back down.
Well, it was a good race for sure, 100 laps, and laps wind up quickly. I'm sure your arms are a little jello from running off this top paperclip racetrack, but good run tonight, and I know you probably got a couple of people you like to thank on the side of this old hot rod.
Yeah, man, that's why we do this, get ready for the real life stuff. So a good 70-lap run at Bristol with the old force feedback is good practice. But yeah, just thanks for Tanner and them for putting it on. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast. I know I got a few people watching, so shout out to them, and we'll try again next week.
All right, Ron, man, we hope to see you in Victory Lane next week, or top 3, either one. You know, get up here and talk to me and Al. We try to entertain the millions out there. But good run tonight, and just one spot short. But hopefully next week you can pull it off a little bit better for us.
Thanks, Jason.
There you go. That's your second place runner-up. And while this man, we hardly ever get to talk to this man. He's always up in the control booth, but rolled the race car out to the famed paperclip, and Tanner going to come home with that third place run against these drivers that you kind of race control each and every week.
Yeah, so we were talking in the drivers meeting, and just would like to. It's good to just hop in the car every once in a while and kind of gauge, you know, how the races go from the driver's seat. It's kind of just a good house cleaning activity to do for the series. So thought, you know, what better time to do it than now? I love Martinsville. It's a super fun track. It's a really entertaining track in these cars. So figured I'd hop in and you know, see how I could stack up against these guys that do this every week. So I had a blast. That was really fun. Congrats to Brett. That was a fun one for sure.
Yeah, we saw you have a good battle at the beginning of the race with Jackson Lewis there door to door, and then Brett Hahn as well, and then we got that quick yellow flag, and his nose was just ahead of yours, and must have caught that scoring loop just ahead of yours there. And do you think that was the difference for this race?
I'd like to blame it on the timing, but no, I made a fatal driver error when we were gridding up. But I mean, perfect example of not driving these cars enough. These things are really, really sensitive to the brake bias that you start with, and I just totally forgot to adjust that. I had my brake bias essentially where it shouldn't have been, and that just resulted in my car swinging really, really tight, and just had a really hard time after about 40 laps keeping the thing on the bottom. So I was extremely fast for about 40, 45 laps. Then after that, it fell off a cliff. So I got the battle in there with Ron, and I had one time I went through 3 and 4 and just really pushing nose really bad, and it kind of opened the door for Ron to get underneath me, and I kind of knew at that point that it was just not even really worth the fight. So we're gonna let Ron go. I didn't know if he'd have anything to try to reel in Brett and make an entertaining race out of it, and just kind of tag on and play spectator mode the last however many laps it was, 30, 40 laps, whatever. And nonetheless, though, still had a blast. These cars are a really, really good time, especially at Martinsville. It feels like you're doing 1,000 mile an hour through the corner compared to like a regular stock car. So enjoyed myself. I think I learned a little bit. Might be able to improve on the setups to make the racing quality a little bit better going forward. So, but yeah, nonetheless, just had a good time and glad to actually get back in the car for once.
So a little bit of R&D out there this evening at the Martinsville Speedway for you in the Sunoco Invitational Series. And I know you do a lot of hard work behind the scenes, and we appreciate everything that you do. And it's good to see this number one out there and be able to have some fun with the guys that I'll say that you babysit each and every Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'd agree. I feel like a kindergarten teacher watching over all the kids sometimes. But no, we've got a great group of guys, and honestly, this is probably, it is the invite series, so sometimes we have a little bit smaller car counts, but one thing that can almost be guaranteed week in and week out is the guys that we have in here, they're all really good sports and, race each other really, really clean, and I think that shows, throughout the whole season. All of our caution count numbers have been down from seasons past. We do the caution claim system here in this series, and we've not had a single caution all season long through these first, I guess it's been, 4 races that hasn't been claimed. So just a testament to everybody that we got running with us, and just a really good group of drivers. And just without them having the skill level that they got, we wouldn't be able to put on the on-track product like we do. So it's really just a round of applause to those guys.
Well, we hope to see you maybe behind the wheel a little bit more if this season, maybe a couple more times at the very least. And always good to talk to you, Tanner. I know we talk usually before and after the race, but it's good to talk to you during this Sunoco post-race show put here on by the American Sim Racing Club. And we thank you for your time and all that you do for this series.
Yeah, I mean, you guys too. Like you said, we talk a lot, outside of the broadcast, and it's nice to be able to talk to you guys in the the podium interview. That's pretty cool. I don't think I've actually been able to be in an interview with you, Al, or Jason, so that's that's a really cool deal. But yeah, no, a lot of hard work goes into this thing. We've got an awesome group of admins that back the whole thing. It's kind of like an all-in type league, and the guys that we got, they're definitely all in, and we really, really appreciate their help and stuff. But yeah, no, you guys do a phenomenal job every week. I go back and watch all these broadcasts and never really have a single complaint every single time. So you two knock these things out of the park and hear a lot of good things. So I share the link with a few people I work with and a couple people that I race with in real life, and they go back and watch when they can. And not uncommon to receive a text a couple days after we race saying that was awesome, or it was cool when this guy did this, or it was cool when they mentioned that, or something along those lines. So you guys definitely, you're reaping the benefits, and you do a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words, and we appreciate you tagging us in. We're looking forward to the rest of the season. We know we got Phoenix next week, and then we're going to be off for a week. I thank you, because that'll be a week of decompressing from tax season. So this is my fun away from the desk, even though it's just in front of another desk. So, but we appreciate you. We look forward to next week at probably one of my least favorite racetracks as a driver, but I love broadcasting it. Always a great time. And hopefully we'll see you on track, like I said, maybe 1 or 2 more times this season. It's always good to see the guys that put in the hard work be able to go out there and have some fun as well.
Yeah, I think the game plan right now is I'll probably pop into a couple of these throughout the season and just kind of gauge, where we're at. And, it's one thing to be tweaking a setup. We try to run the fixed setup as much as we possibly can, but, we do tweak it a little bit for best interest of trying to put on a little bit better show. Anybody that's been on iRacing that's run the fixed setup kind of knows they're not really the best for that. So we try to critique them just a little bit. But, yeah, it's just nice to hop in every once in a while and kind of gauge yourself over the course of a full race, actually racing around other cars and whatnot. So I'll probably pop in a handful more times throughout the season and kind of see where we're at.
Sounds good. That's Tanner Tallarico going to come home in that 3rd spot here to round out the podium.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that'll do it for our Sunoco post-race show presented by Sunoco. And we thank Sunoco for fueling not only the race cars, but our cars to get to and from the racetrack each and every week. Tallarico's Boardwalk Sub, Jersey-style soups, subs, and salads serving West Michigan. I know Jason's going to stop there on the way home, or he's got a sub in the car for the ride home from them, so we thank them. We have got Pro Coat powder coating, whether it's something small to something large. Pro Coat is how you want to do it. Do just what the pros use. Pro Coat powder coating, your perfect attendance award sponsor. The Bubba's About Broke podcast. Listen to your local short track heroes from across the United States and listen to their stories in the Bubba's About Broke podcast, where you listen to podcasts. And LaPlante Racing Products, the proud sponsor of the Triple Crown Series. And that will do it for the Sunoco post-race show. Jason, we got the results to get through. We talked to the top three cars: Brett Hahn, Ron Hart, Taylor Tallarico, Hayden Swank from the rear of the field up to finish fourth. Zach Coyer with a strong fifth-place run. Sixth place, Charles Darling, Jackson McLaren. Seventh, Braxton Luis is eighth. Jeff Dillon and Matthew Mojeski rounding out your top 10. David Payton will come home in 11th. Devin McDonald 12th. Noah Boucher, John DeMeester, and Jackson Lewis out early. Your only car behind the wall. That'll do it from Martinsville. Some final thoughts from the man called Racing Jason.
Well, I thought it was a good race. You know, we had a couple of cautions early, and the guys settled themselves out. And the guys that run hard each and every week with these long green flag runs, we saw them prevail, like Brett Hahn and Ron Hart and Tanner. And the other guys had some misfortune, like Jackson Lewis. I don't know if maybe he broke a drive shaft rear end, motor went out. I don't know what happened there. But, even Braxton DeWeese, he really runs up front. Didn't mention his name much, but had a pretty good solid run. But all in all, the old paperclip was a pretty good show. And we'll go next week to Phoenix, Al, and I hate rattlesnakes. And if I see one, you better get ready to call 911, because old Griff here, he'll be having a little panic attack on you, old buddy.
All right, so same with me. So good, we'll stay away from Rattlesnake Hill then.
I'll try my best, Al.
There you have it from the Martinsville Speedway, as Brett Hahn went victorious here this evening in front of a packed-out crowd. Now everybody will pack up, head back to the West Coast as we head to Phoenix, Arizona, for the running of our next event in 1 week's time. We thank you for tuning on in here tonight, being a part of the broadcast. For my partner in crime, Racing Jason, I am Upstate Al, and we're proud to bring you all of tonight's racing action here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Until next week, everybody, we'll keep it at wheels down, and we'll see you in turn number 3.